I want to talk about the stages of a relationship and, more importantly, the state that you're in as you're moving through these stages. Stage number one is the testing it out phase. This is where you're dating, you're trying to show your best self. You're probably meeting with a lot of different people. It's fun and it's also really not fun. There's a lot of ups and downs. It's this kind of emotional roller coaster. And the focus is, of course, on the other person, but really you're trying to bring your best self forward. Then you meet someone and something interesting happens. You can't stop thinking about this person. You become slightly almost obsessed. And if they feel that way back, you begin to fall in love. Now, in this stage, we don't sleep as well. We don't eat as well. Our heart beats faster. We're constantly in a state of wanting to mate. It's this intense bonding period. It feels wonderful and also all consuming. At some point, you move into the stage of commitment. It doesn't have to be a formal commitment. It could just be we've decided to kind of join our lives together. We're seeing each other a lot more. We're exclusive. Maybe we move in together. Maybe we get married. Maybe we adopt a dog. Maybe we decide to have kids. It's kind of an exciting stage because you're just thinking about the next thing, right? Maybe you're planning the wedding, maybe you're joining your finances, whatever you're doing. It can be exciting or it can be scary because at some point you reach a state of disillusionment where you realize, hey, we're actually not as compatible as I thought we were when we were in that falling in love stage. More about that disillusionment later. The next stage is the stage where you've committed, you've maybe had the kids, adopted the dog, bought the place, and now you're in this kind of routine, busy, sometimes boring stage. It's boring because you're not connecting with each other actively anymore. The focus is really not on each other, it's on other things. For some couples, they really enjoy this stage. They find that they really thrive in this stage. And for other couples, they find that the lack of connection with each other really gets to them and it creates negative cycles. It creates just like resentment, a state of not feeling great about the relationship. Then there's another stage that happens when our kids move out, when we become less busy. It happens sometimes around retirement. And I see a lot of couples in this stage where they're not sure if they really get along anymore. They don't know how to be with each other anymore. But if they can move through that, they can reach a new stage of life where they're really happy and they're having a lot of fun together and they don't have as many responsibilities. So they get to kind of focus on themselves and just sort of be together. So that's a broad overview of the different stages of life. But let's talk about the states of a relationship. Let's talk about the state that you can be in any of these stages. I talked about disillusionment before. Disillusionment can happen basically at any of the stages. And disillusionment means I don't know about this person anymore. Suddenly I'm realizing we have these value differences. We have these lifestyle goal differences. We're not as compatible. I don't feel as loved as I want to feel. Maybe we have sexual desire differences. Maybe I'm feeling lonely and I just realize that this person is not meeting my needs. Now, when we become disillusioned in the testing it out phase, we just move on, right? If we realize, oh, we're not compatible, we just move on. When we become disillusioned in the falling in love stage, oftentimes we just move on as well. We say, okay, I thought I was in love with this person, but it's not working out that way, so we're going to move on. The complication comes when we become disillusioned in the commitment or the boring routine stages of life. Now, when we become disillusioned during the commitment stage of life, we get into a state of limbo because we don't know if we should move forward or stop the relationship. We don't know, should we continue planning the wedding or should we break up? Right? And this can cause a lot of heartache for couples, especially when one person is in that limbo stage, but the other person isn't. When one person has been disillusioned, but the other person is still quite committed and engaged. Disillusionment leads to ambivalence. When we're disillusioned with our relationship or with our partner, we become ambivalent. Do I want to stay or do I want to go? Do I like this person or do I not like this person? The opposite of ambivalence is engagement. If I'm engaged in this relationship, if I'm engaged in the process of this relationship, I'm committed to seeing it through. I'm committed to working on it. But when we're not sure if we want to be with that person, the ambivalence takes over and we say, uh-oh, I don't know what to do. I feel so stuck. When we become ambivalent in the boring routine stage of our lives, where we're raising the kids, where we're already committed and we're kind of just going through the motions now of like our everyday lives, that's when we start to see affairs happening and couples just leading separate lives, even though they're technically together. They could break up, but oftentimes we're so committed to each other, we're so merged with each other in our lives that that feels like a very difficult step to take. And the thing is that if we can move through this, if we can move from ambivalence to acceptance, which is where we say, okay, we may be different in lifestyle goals, we may be different even in our values, we may be different in the way that we show love, but I still am engaged in the process. I've decided I want to see this through. I've decided I want to see you for the amazing person that I know you are on the inside. I want to rediscover who you are. I want to rediscover who I am. If we can move into that state from the state of ambivalence, that's when we create this more like conscious coupling where we're together, we're accepting, and we know that our partner's not perfect and that we're not perfect. And we're committed to just loving them anyway and showing up as our most loving self. For you, I want you to think about what stage of life are you in? And that's pretty easy to determine, right? What stage of your relationship are you in? But the most important question is, what state of being are you in this stage?